today's video we're gonna focus on a brand new Wii knife release called the Zonda. That was actually released today, but there was also another model released today from Wii knife, and that is the limited edition Nexusia. So I'm gonna make a video for this one as well, but I'm gonna start with the Zonda, I believe. And well, this time I'm not gonna be that late to the party. I might actually be among the first ones making videos for these two models. But like I mentioned, we're gonna start with the Zonda now. This is your typical Wii knife box. You're gonna have some information about the model here on the side. I can read it for you. It says Zonda, grey titanium handle with twill carbon fiber and flame titanium inlay. Silver bead blasted CPM 20 CV. So yeah, sounds pretty exciting to me. I mean, I know what the knife looks like already, and I guess most of you watching also knows what this knife looks like. But yeah, let's do the unboxing here. Remove the cardboard sleeve. Yeah, your typical Wii knife box. And I can already guess all the contents, and I guess most of the viewers here can as well. So sticker, let's see, like that. Arrakis sticker. Some warranty, maintenance, etc., stuff like that. The Wii knife cloth and some brochure here with random models, all of them already released. So that is it for the that part of the contents. Then we have the your regular Wii knife pouch, which nylon pouch, highly functional. I mean, it's simple, but it is functional. Yeah, some silica gel inside, a knife, and also an extra place for an additional knife, so you can carry two knives in this pouch. So let's remove this and let's take a closer look. So this is what the Zonda looks like. I'm actually not the biggest fan in general of flame titanium, but I will say that this piece for this inlay does actually look quite nice. And there is actually some flame titanium underneath the pocket clip, and here we also see the flame titanium for the backspacer, and it's quite an interesting backspacer, I would say. Overall, my first impressions here with the titanium, with the carbon fiber and the flame titanium, I think it has a really, well, elegant might not be the right word, but sort of, actually quite stylish. Almost over the top, but not really. I think it is not subtle, but it's just not too much. It looks nice. Let's go for some real close-ups here, if we can manage. I'm taking it kind of slow because I know there are not a whole lot of videos of this knife now on YouTube, and people might be, curious and wanting to see, the full details of sorts. So let's open it up, shall we? Nice, snappy opening action. Flat grind and a bead blasted finish, which I'm actually not a fan of. To be honest, I wanted the satin version because I find it to be better looking, but the satin finish was not available with this handle configuration, so I had to compromise a bit. You can get a satin finish blade, but you will get non-flame titanium inlays. You will get carbon fiber inlays. I mean, that would look good as well, but I thought that this was just more of a nice show piece, so that is why I got it. This specific configuration, so to say. Clip point, I will say that it's harpoon as well. It might not be that pronounced really, but it is a harpoon grind, so a bit of a swedge going on. Crown spine, some jimping. It is actually, it's a really light blade, I've got to say. That was one of the first things that struck me when I unboxed it. I mean, well, the flame titanium did strike me first, by pure, looks and aesthetics, but the weight of the knife did strike me as it is to me it feels really light given the size. And I will also say that I've kind of felt straight away that I would have loved this knife to be the full 4mm that WeKnife puts on, or did put on most of their knives and models at one point in time. This one is 3.2mm, and I just feel like, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a nice slicer, no doubt, and it's nice with a light knife, but I can't help but feel right away that 4mm would have felt really good. But you can't have everything, can you? Maybe we should start by going over the specs, since I've already mentioned, the materials and the blade thickness, etc. And well, the blade steel for that matter is CPM 20CV, and that is what WeKnife seems to go with on all of their models, not including the Damna steel versions, of course, but all regular WeKnife models seems to come in 20 CV these days. Anyways, maybe I want to check the balance point, since I mentioned the knife was so light, but still it is back heavy. So I think it would have been, with a 4mm thick blade, it would have balanced better. Let's see, there is quite a bit of internal milling here actually, and that was perhaps not necessary, since the blade, I mean, well, yeah, but wait, that was of course necessary. The blade, the knife is back heavy, so without internal milling, of course, it would have been, the balance point would have been even further back here. So yeah, I mean, the milling, I totally get the milling. Just a bit tired, I guess, of making this video right now. So quite a bit of internal milling on both the shove side and the clip side. As always, it is really difficult to get it to shove here on camera, but you will just have to sort of believe me when I say that there is a lot of internal milling. It's just difficult to catch here. But even so, with all that internal milling, the blade is back heavy. Yeah. Anyways, for the actual specs and numbers here, we have a total length here of 226mm. So that is 22.6 centimeters in total length. This is not a small knife. I would say that this is to be considered a large folding knife. Definitely medium to large, but more large than medium. We've got a blade length here of 103mm, so 10.3 centimeters in blade length. And I mean, any folding knife with a blade length of more than 10 centimeters, that is, yeah, I mean, that is a large knife, at least by my standards. And the blade thickness, as I mentioned, as can be seen here, is 3mm. Or 3.2mm, and I think that 4mm would have been terrific, but it is what it is. The close length here, so let's see the closing action. Not really hydraulic, but not bad. So the close length is 123mm, which means that it is 12.3 centimeters in closed length. This is a frame lock design with a lockup of around, I'd say like 30 or 35%, a solid lockup. There is no lock stick, and like I mentioned, the closing action is not hydraulic, but then again it is brand new, the knife. Snappy opening action. I'm gonna actually use this cloth now when I test for blade play. And there is no blade play, and the reason why I use the cloth here is because the bead blast finish from WeKnife is a fingerprint magnet. So if I just touch the blade, we're gonna have fingerprints all over it. And I can see that my camera is starting to overheat right now, so I'm gonna take a short break and we will get back to the ERGOS and other design parts. Maybe we can at least, check the centering before the camera gets overheated. So the centering here is spot on, 100% centered blade. Milled pocket clip, not very, fancy in any way, but it goes well with the overall design here, I would say. So that's it. I'm gonna let the camera rest for a while and then we can go into ERGOS and some other design aspects. So we've gone over the specs of the knife now, and we've also gone over some of the design elements of the Zonda. Let's focus a bit on ERGOS now. Like I mentioned, this is a light knife. I think it weighs around 117 gram, I think it was specified as. And that is a lightweight for such a large knife. So, ERGOS in my hand. I wear size 10 in gloves, fairly large hand. Placing the knife like this, I've got a lot of space here. So this will be my preferred grip. Oh, we've already got some of those fingerprints that I was mentioning earlier. So placing the knife in my hand like this feels really good. I will say that the jimping here it's not doing much at all, to be fully honest. And I would have, it is a crown spine and that feels pretty good actually. But like I mentioned, 3.2 millimeters, it would have felt even better with 4 millimeters. So, standard grip. Reverse grip, for those that enjoy using their knives in a reverse grip, it doesn't feel, bad. It doesn't feel super good either, really. It feels, well, maybe you don't care that much about how it feels if you're gonna use the knife in a reverse grip to begin with. But yeah, it's functional and it's doable. But this is, like this, it feels quite nice. Size 10. I think it will work, great if you have smaller hands, and it will definitely work well if you have larger hands as well. So the ERGOS are on point. So a bit of a close-up again, perhaps. Almost like it was custom made for my hands, right? So, what more can we say here? I will say that the backspacer part here is perhaps the most interesting part of the knife, and I think that this screw here is quite vital to holding the whole knife together. Since what we have here, the inlays and these screws are just for the inlays. I mean, there are no other screws aside from, there is this pin here on the back side. Let's close the knife for a second. Guess this could work, as a lanyard. If you want to attach a lanyard to this pin here, guess that could be done. But yeah, overall, it is a knife with an interesting build design, interesting as in good looking aesthetics. I do not think I have any other knife with a backspacer that has this kind of look and design to it. I may be wrong, but it's just an good looking, very versatile knife. With a blade shape like this and a blade grind like this, it will be a very practical tool should you want to use a knife like that. If it's just going to be a collector's piece, then you will have a good looking collector's piece, of course. But for slicing, I bet this one will do a pretty good job. But we won't know that for 100% sure before we do some actual sharpness testing. And that is what I wanted to do, or that is what I am going to do right now. So we're going to slice some printing paper and some newspaper, my standard sharpness tests. So time for a first factory sharpness test, and we're gonna go with some thin newspaper and regular printing paper. I brought 2 of each, and we're gonna start with the printing paper. So I'll put this aside. So let's see. I mean, this should be slicey. So I hope they haven't messed up the sharpness here. Oh, this is good. Yeah, this is some really good stuff. Super, super smooth slicing of the paper. I would bet that this is probably one of the sharper knives that I have received from WeKnife, and they have been on point with their sharpness lately. Let's go with the newspaper next here. I bet it's gonna perform quite nicely here as well. Yeah, this is some really good stuff. And like I mentioned, this is perhaps one of the more sharper knives that I have gotten from WeKnife in my recent purchases. And the sharpness level has been really good for most of those knives. Yeah, this is what we want to see and feel. Oh man. Yeah, this is the results we want. So let's put this aside now, and yeah, clean confetti cuts all around. So yeah, I've got pretty much one thing to say. WeKnife, keep it up, and this is a nice slicer, just like I was hoping for it to be. Very nice performance here. So let's continue on with some final thoughts and conclusions now, shall we? Time for some, quick final thoughts and conclusions about the newly released WeKnife Zonda. A large but light knife in titanium with carbon fiber inlays and flame titanium inlays in the carbon fiber inlays. And flame titanium. I'm not sure what we're gonna call this type of backspacer, but yeah, a unique flame titanium backspacer. This is a really stylish folder. I would say it is a little bit almost over the top, but I think that the gray, titanium, etc., it does make it a little bit more, well, semi-subtle, at least preventing it from being, extremely over the top, which easily happens when you throw a lot of different materials and shiny materials on a folding knife. So this one walks a fine balance between stylish and over the top. The ERGOS are on point, at least in your regular grip. The reverse grip, I would say, feels, well, I mean, it doesn't feel bad, but it feels well, who cares really? No one uses it in a reverse grip. So the ERGOS are on point. I would have liked the knife to have a 4mm spine or blade thickness instead of the 3.2 that we sometimes see. I think that would have made the knife, just, well, slightly, well, what should we say? Well, I can't really find an adequate word, but it just feels like the knife would have been a little bit more solid with a 4mm thick spine. But I get it. I get it. They want it to be a light, swift knife, and it is, a highly functional slicer, I would say. The factory sharpness is ridiculously good on my example, at least, of the WeKnife Zonda. Most knives that I have purchased lately from WeKnife have all been sharp, but this has got to be one of the sharpest ones that I have gotten so far. Overall, I would say the fit and finish is really good. The opening action is quite snappy. The closing action is not really hydraulic. You do have to give it a little bit of a push here, but the knife is brand new. I have opened and closed it less than like, I don't know, 30 or 40 times, so it is to be considered brand new. The pocket clip is, I mean, it is milled from a single piece of titanium, but it's not, something super fancy in any way. It's really, straightforward but functional. It goes well together with the rest of the lines of the knife. And like I said, I don't want the knife to be too over the top, which a spectacular pocket clip of sorts could have made it. I do think it is a bit of a shame that the pocket clip here prevents you from seeing the flame titanium inlay beneath it, but hey, I mean, it is what it is, and it would have been the same pretty much with any pocket clip. I am still glad that they decided to go with the titanium, flame titanium beneath it. And looking at it, I guess that you could, is it possible that you could switch side of the pocket clip? No, I think not. So this is gonna be right hand carry only. So overall, what should I say? A nice slicing knife, nice sublime harpoon grind of sorts, crown spine, does feel good. Just a really nice new release from WeKnife, and they are pumping out some pretty spectacular knives right now. Next up, I'm going to review the Nexusia, which is going to be quite interesting as well. But if you've been looking at the WeKnife Zonda, if you are attracted by the aesthetics and the blade profile, etc., then you will not be disappointed. And I think the biggest surprise is going to be how light the knife is when you get it in your hand. WeKnife Zonda, an easy recommend.